Hello everyone. Well, things are about to get exciting. Well, maybe not exciting, but we're going to do something different than what we've been doing. If this is your first time here, we've got 21 acres, and the plan is to build a house up there. And we started, this was just an overgrown drainage ditch area down here that was a mess. It was grown up, so done quite a bit of clearing. And now it's time to start hauling the trash off and get the rest of the brush burnt. But I'm going to put a pond in right here. And what we got the property line. If you can see this stake with the orange flag, and then I'll point that property line sort of follows the end of my finger somewhere out in there. So basically what I've got to do, I've got the transit here today, and we've got the creek that runs down here. This drains down in the creek. I'm going to put a new culvert pipe in somewhere along in here. We've got a water line. If you'll see this blue flag, there's a water line that runs through there. It goes down under the creek and then back up the road. I don't like this bank. It's steep. It's going to be hard to keep mowed, and it's just going to be hard to maintain over time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this drainage ditch over here to this side of the water line. That way I can backfill this and it'll be easier to maintain and mow. So new drainage ditch will be here. I'm going to move the culvert. That's a 24-inch culvert. It's not big enough when we get hard rain, so I'm going to put a 36-inch culvert in. But I'm going to put the 36-inch culvert here in line with the new drainage ditch. So over here I'm going to build an overflow chamber. Essentially, I'm going to come in here, build an overflow chamber, and I'll run my culvert pipe back into that overflow chamber. So the pond will come up. I'll establish grade. I'm going to bring the road in, my gravel driveway for the time being. I'm going to bring it up level with the road. I don't want to be pulling in downhill in case you've got a longer trailer and it dragging. So I'm going to build that up and get everything back to level. So I'll shoot the road, and then that's going to establish the level of my, I guess, the bank around my pond. I'll shoot some elevation there, and then I'll keep the pond level probably a foot or 18 inches below that. So I'll establish my pond height with my overflow chamber, and culvert to go in it, so the pond will raise up, go into the overflow chamber, and then under the driveway and drain down into the creek. So anyway, I dug a little test pit here the other day to just check and see how this ground holds water. And we had a little bit of rain, and that's been sitting there for a couple days and not going anywhere. Actually, day after I dug it out, it actually had some water coming up through the ground. So there's water in here, and I don't think I'm going to have to worry a great deal about it leaking and holding water, but I'll dig some pretty good material out when I build this up and get this packed in here pretty good so we don't have anything leaking. But next on the agenda, let's shoot some grade. We'll start sort of laying out our pond banks, get elevations, and then haul this crap out of here that's piled up, and then start belling dirt back over. I'm wanting to build this up, and then obviously that's the neighbor's property, but he's giving me permission to go in there and get that cleaned up. So I'm going to build that up a little bit, and I'll make a little better slope over there for him on his bank as well. I'll backfill that and make that slope a little bit more gradual. But let's get to shooting, and we'll go from there. A little side note, I don't use a transit a whole lot, but I'll need one 2 times a year, and versus going and renting one, I decided I've had a couple of them now, but I usually keep a transit. This is a GRL 250 HV professional Bosch. I think I bought this at Lowe's. They're not overly expensive, but I will tell you, if you do any kind of grade work or anything, they come in handy. And it's nice to, if you just need to pull one out for 10 minutes to just shoot 2 locations or whatever it may be. It works good. But I've been pleased with this one. It's nothing fancy, but it's been more than adequate for what I've needed it for. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the creek, and I'm going to go down and see how much fall I've got, where I can bring that ditch out when I move this ditch over. I'm going to go down and shoot an elevation so I can see the amount of fall that possible fall I've got from there up here to where my culvert, my new culvert goes in. I'm putting 12 inches more culvert in than what I've got now, so I want plenty of material over the top of it. So I'm going to see how deep I can take this culvert in the ground and get as much material over top of it as I can coming off the road level. So I'm going to go down there, shoot an elevation to where it would exit, and then I'll come up here and see how much fall I actually have and can put in place so we can figure out how much dirt we're going to have on top of the culvert. All right, I went down to the creek and shot an elevation, and I've come back up here and shooting the actual bottom of my tile to see where I need to be at. And that's got me within 1/4 of an inch. I'm pretty close. You can move the stick back and forth, but it's close enough for what I'm doing. So basically we were down there, we were at 7 feet, 5.5 inches. Here we're at 3'4". So if you do the math, that's 49.5 inches. So basically I've got a little over 4 feet of fall from here to the creek bed where it's dumping in now. So I'll get a measurement, and I can see how much fall I'll get per foot or per 10 feet, and I can sort of calculate how much dirt I'm going to have over my culvert from the road and still get water to run to the creek. All right, I've got my fall from the creek up to the bottom of this culvert. I've got 49.5 inches. What I'm wanting to do is, as I said earlier, I'm going to put a 36-inch tile in here instead of a 24. So I'm going to set the level of my driveway and the top of my pond dam from the road, because I want to come in to the driveway level, and essentially I'll have a little bit of fall from the driveway tapering back down to the pond dam, but this is pretty much going to establish my level that I'm going to follow down the left and right side of the creek, or the pond rather. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shoot this at the road, and I'm going to shoot the bottom of that culvert. That way it'll tell me how much fill I'll have over top of the 36-inch culvert, and see if I can cheat and drop that culvert a little bit more. In order to get 1 inch of fall on this run, I would only need 30 inches of fall, but that's 1 inch every 10 foot. I'd like to have a little bit more than that. That way when it rains hard, that water will get on down through there a little quicker, but I want plenty of fill over top of this culvert, so I'm going to see at these elevations where we are right now how much cover I've got over top of my pipe. I'll get back with you. There's our pond level, or bank level rather. All right, I've got my elevation shot. I have screwed a screw in the road through a little ribbon, so that way I can come back and reference that point. But that is the level that's going to dictate the top of my pond bank that I'm going to run off of. So I've taken and shot this. This is going to tell me where my road needs to go, the top of it, and then we'll play it out once we get around the curve and start off. But what I've done is I come down here at the property line. I'm going to have to build this bank up to get it level with that spot in the road. So I have driven, I'll try to put it in the video. I just drove this metal stake in. I took the transit, referenced that elevation down here off the top of that metal fence post at the property line. And as I get that cleared out at the end, we'll reference that as well. Obviously, if you look from here, there's some dirt's got to be taken out there, which I'll take that dirt, bell it back over here against the bank, and ease that slope to make it better. So that establishes the pond bank, and I guess pond dam, essentially, the elevation. I've got that. Here's what I've run into. I want my road to be level coming in. I don't want to come down off the road, so I want it to be level or even a little incline. I'm going to put a 36-inch culvert in. I've got a 24-inch. The only problem I'm running into is from the road out to the top of my 36-inch culvert. If I put it at the same elevation as this 24-inch culvert, I'm only going to have 5.5 inches of cover over the top. So I shot earlier, I shot the fall from the creek bed up here to the bottom of the culvert. I've got 49.5 inches of fall. I've got 300 feet. So if I allowed it to fall 1 inch every 10 foot, I would only need 30 inches of fall from here to there. I'd rather give it a little more than that. So what I'll probably do, I may split the difference. That way I can get some more cover over my culvert pipe. And then I may allow this road to incline from the asphalt. I may bring it in on an incline because I'm going to put the culvert here. So if I cheat and maybe split the difference between 30 inches and 49.5, maybe give it only 40 inches of fall, 38 inches of fall, something along those lines. That'll get me in the ground a little deeper here, and then I can add 2 or 3 inches of incline, 4 inches of incline, at least I'd like to get at least 12 inches, and I will we'll come in here and pack this in clay, and then come back and dig it out, and then I'll probably fill it with rock. That way I've got a good surface across the top. But this is the stuff you got to do to make sure you don't have any uh-ohs in the long run. But you just got to add and subtract, and hopefully you get it right. But anyway, hey, I enjoy making these videos. I didn't think I would. I mainly started doing this just so we've got a record of it to look back at 20 years from now. But my kids and my wife are making fun of me for my YouTube channel. They ask me every day with a snigger on their face, well, how many subscribers do you have, Dad? In which, you know, there's 12. But anyway, so if you'd like to help me shut my wife and kids up from making fun of me, I've never done this before, but if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. And if you want to subscribe, I'll bring you along the journey. But anyway, thanks for watching. Those 2 or 3 of you who might. Catch you on the next one.